You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Good afternoon, Steeler Nation, and happy Friday. It's The Drive on the Steelers Audio Network. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on this is a big Friday, Matt. This is a jam-packed Friday.
Right. I've mentioned I do other podcasts, and we're supposed to keep them 3 segments, like 9-minute segments with some ads in between. There's too much to talk about, and how do you do it?
It's exactly right. We have the NFL Awards and the newest Hall of Fame class to react to. We have our position group report cards to continue handing out, and we obviously have the biggest of big games on Sunday, Super Bowl 60 between the Seahawks and the Patriots to preview. So, Matt, let's start with last night. Start with the NFL Awards, start with the Hall of Fame class of 2026, and let's go there because there's 2 local ties, 2 Steelers-specific ties to this Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026 announcement last night. The first is L.C. Greenwood did not get elected. Okay. Roger Craig being the only senior class member to go. So no Ken Anderson, no L.C. Obviously, we knew no Belichick, no Kraft in the coaches or contributors department as well. The second Steelers tie is Adam Vinatieri gets in. And good Lord, would our brother Dale Lawley have been upset and fired up and felt in some type of way
coming out of the grave, man.
Today,
right,
if this was his show, I know he'd be heated to start. So, Matt, the 5 men going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2026, Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Roger Craig, and Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah, so congrats to my buddy Larry. I mean, I think obviously it was an easy one, but you never know until it's final, and he was extremely deserving, and boy, was he fun to be around as a person and player back when, so that was awesome. Makes me feel a little old that I remember him,
19 years old.
I remember him 16, watching his high school tape in Minnesota, Academy of the Holy Angels, and that wasn't that long ago, but I guess it was. And they also didn't screw up with Brees. Good. First-time guys shouldn't have higher parameters, which brings me to Kuechly. Why did he have to wait a year? It's so bizarre to me because he's almost the same slam dunk level as Larry and Drew to me. I mean, he's one of the best 10 linebackers ever lived or so. I mean, what are we talking about? Craig, we'll leave Vinatieri for last for Dale. Craig is very deserving too. I mean, as the veteran, this is going to sound disrespectful to Hall of Famers, but as veteran committee inductee possibilities exist, those 3 are really strong. I mean, LC Anderson, I've thought, could have gone in normally, for many years.
Agree.
Yeah.
It's a league MVP.
And it's funny, I mentioned I do a podcast with Brian Peacock, who's a Niners guy. He's like 8 years younger than me. He's like Roger Craig, Montana, Rice were like the 3 dudes I knew, the first football players' names I knew growing up. And you've heard my running back, guitar player conversation. Roger Craig's one of them. Really unique running style. He had a cool face mask, real high knees. Nobody was catching balls in those times.
He's maybe like a Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's just a little different type than everybody else his time.
Yep. So I'm absolutely cool with him. With all respect to LC, I thought Craig was the most deserving of the 3. Okay. But it's a really good
Even more
group.
So than Ken Anderson.
Even more so than Ken Anderson.
Okay.
Yes. Now to Vinatieri. And Dale always overshadowed me in this conversation, but I was exactly in the same ballpark. Like, I can get behind Tucker when it's his time. I mean, he was a weapon and clearly the best kicker in the league for 8 years in a row. Vinatieri, I know there's that Hall of Fame argument of you can't.
It's a museum.
It's a museum, and you can't tell the story of the league without him making the kick in the snow.
That's his calling card in this debate.
And yes, he made a lot of big kicks, but he was also because he was on a really good team. I mean, I never thought he was the best kicker in the league. For a majority of his Colts career, and he had 2 really good careers, the Patriot career, the Colts career, but for the majority of his Colts career, he didn't kick off because he didn't have a very strong leg. And if it was like a 55-yarder, they brought out another guy. So they kept a kicker, a punter, and another dude. So they kept 4 specialists with a long snapper because he didn't have a big enough leg in a dome. You know, like, he was not an elite player, definitely not those last 10 years. And it's kind of a longevity and highlights award.
Yes.
You can't tell me he should go in ahead of Marshall Yonda. You know what I mean?
Subs.
Right, exactly.
Torrey Holt.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's, to me, is nuts.
I think it's all these specialists in Hall of Fame conversation. I guess that's the way I would label it. It's all in how you frame it.
Yeah.
Because, again, if you frame it as these Hall of Fames are museums of the sport, they tell the story of the sport, you can make a case for Adam Vinatieri in that regard.
Yeah.
But, man, I think when you look at the backlog of deserving candidates, that's when it kind of sticks in your craw. Of Suggs, who's what, like 7th or 8th all-time in league history in sacks?
Right.
And now he's going to have to wait a potential 3rd year to get in. I mean,
like, how many tight ends have more catches than Jason Witten? Not many.
Right.
You know, 5, 4.
I think you and I had this conversation at some point last year. We weren't doing shows regularly yet. Maybe it was at the Combine or something like that when we would kind of mix up our lineups and do some crossover stuff. Like, I have no problem with Devin Hester getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was going to bring him up.
But over Luke Kuechly, it's like, come on.
Right.
You know, like, Devin Hester's the greatest returner ever. He should be in the Hall of Fame. But, man, not over a guy like Luke Kuechly.
So I'm hoping, and it probably won't happen, but I'm hoping they examine the process a little bit different maybe this offseason. And maybe the Belichick gaffe is enough to do that, because for him not to, I mean, was Brady not going to go next when he's up to? I mean, come on. And a couple things I bring that up for is I don't know who the voters are, but I know some of them have been doing it for too long.
Yes.
And the scenario I brought up before is sometimes you got to take the driver's license off the dude that forgets his turn signals on and can't see, and he's 85 years old.
Sometimes you got to tell your parents, mom and dad, you shouldn't be driving anymore.
You're right. Or you're not really even covering a team the last 10 years, and you didn't watch some of these dudes, or you're not really qualified anymore. And certainly the process around the coaches should be different. And that's where I kind of go with special teamers. Like, let's have a special team once every 4 years. A special teamer goes in, and it's its own category, like coaches or whatever. You know, because you can't compare a kicker or Steve Tasker or Hester to a guard,
to Luke Kuechly
that plays every snap. Right.
Ken Anderson.
Exactly. And I use the same example all the time with the Bills. Like, if you went to Marv Levy or Jim Kelly and been like, would you rather we missed Steve Tasker for one of these Super Bowls, or Shane Conlon or Reuben Brown, who aren't even close to Hall of Famers, but great players that play every day? It's not even close, you know. So they need to have their own category. Then I wouldn't have a problem with Vinatieri. He is worthy as guys not named Tucker.
I think you and I are in lockstep on that one. And I do think if there's ever a time to revisit it, some of that smoke, some of that noise about the Belichick stuff might be what pushes that over the top.
I'd love to know who all the voters are and how long they've been doing it.
Same.
And their current age.
Matt, I'd like to know that in a lot of walks of life.
Yes.
A lot of walks of life. First-time eligibles for the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2027 include...
Oh, I haven't seen this. I know Ben's up.
Benjamin Todd Roethlisberger. Yeah. Rob Gronkowski, Adrian Peterson.
Wow, good group.
I think those are the big 3. Then just slightly a step down.
To me, they're as much a lock as Larry and Drew.
I think so.
Yeah.
Slight step down, but still incredible. Richard Sherman is eligible now too. Cam Newton eligible as well.
Okay.
Antonio Brown, who would normally be a slam dunk, but we know there's a lot going on there.
I bet they make him wait, but that's also a crime. I mean, he's an easy one to me.
And then another kind of step back. Alex Mack, Andrew Whitworth, Eric Weddle, Lev Bell, Joe Hayden, all good players.
Okay. Boy, a lot of Steelers.
But I don't think quite in the same tier as that first and second group.
No, I actually think AB's in that top tier. If you just look at what they did on the field, which is the criteria, you know.
I agree. And it is important to note, as much as this isn't practiced, it's preached. There's not a morality clause.
Not in this Hall of Fame.
The NFL Hall. There is in baseball.
Right.
There is not in Canton. So now I'm not saying that
Lawrence Taylor got in trouble, and right.
I'm not saying that in practice ends up being the case in all these voters' minds,
Right.
but there is not a morality clause in the voting process like there is in Major League Baseball. Matt, NFL awards, NFL honors. Last night, not only did we learn the latest Hall of Fame class for 2026, but we also learned all those individual award winners that we had kind of discussed and debated when the season ended. Let's start from the top here and just give some few thoughts on these.
Yeah, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on most of them because there's not a lot of shocks.
Agree.
Yeah.
And again, we've kind of given our opinions on all this in the past. Matt Stafford wins MVP at age 37 in his 17th NFL season. I know Drake May had a great case, but I think this is the right call. I think this is richly deserved.
I heard I guess they were neck and neck, much like Allen and Lamar last year, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
I think both the guys last year had stronger cases than both the guys this year, but that's neither here nor there. And speaking of voters, I guess it came out that between Herbert and Allen, they got 3 votes. Okay. Which a lot of people May supporters had a problem with. Like, what are you voting for those guys for? I'm like, I just want to throw it out there. I mean, because I think it came down to there was 24 to 25 or something like that.
Okay, so those people thought, well, if you would have voted for May instead,
right?
Maybe they would have voted
Patriot
for Stafford.
People. Right,
yeah,
right.
Sure.
But I have no problem with Stafford over May, and probably would have voted that way.
That's where I would go to, and maybe this is the human element coming into these things that shouldn't, but it's. I think it's time for Matthew Stafford to get that award.
Yeah.
And Drake May's still young, and he's got all that time, and it reminds me, like Kobe Bryant, to use a basketball example, won his one MVP late in his Lakers career.
Oh, really?
And you could make a pretty legitimate argument that he shouldn't have won it, that he had other years where he was more deserving.
Maybe it wasn't his best year.
But it was like, this guy deserves to win an MVP. Come on. And I think there was some of that with Stafford as well. In the least shocking development from last night, Matt, Myles Garrett picked up his second Defensive Player of the Year award.
Easy one.
Yeah. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Tet McMillan, wide receiver, Carolina Panthers.
I'd be curious how close Shuck was, but I think McMillan's the right call.
That, to me, felt like a pretty, what Shuck did down the stretch was very impressive, but from start to finish,
Tet was really good.
Tet, I think, was the best offensive rookie from September till the beginning of January. Protector of the Year, Joe Thuney from the Chicago Bears. Surprising, not a tackle. It's almost.
I thought it'd definitely be a tackle.
Right? Joe Thuney gets it.
I know this is kind of out there.
After moving from Kansas City to Chicago this past year.
I think I can't remember if you told me this or someone else told me this, but Joe Thuney's won the division every year he's been in the league.
It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
I think it was TV. I think it was TV who told us, but
it adds up.
It's nuts.
You go from the Pats to the Chiefs to the
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Josh McDaniels, who was assistant coach of the year, this is his 10th Super Bowl.
Holy cow.
10th.
So he's been a part of all of those except for one.
Yeah.
Because I know this is Robert Kraft's 11th.
Okay.
So then that would mean
that would make sense.
Been part of all of them except for maybe the first one.
I guess. Or when he was with the Denver or something. But this is
good
his
call.
10th.
Good call.
That's nuts.
Matt, that's the type of greed they speak about in the Bible.
Who were we talking about here, though?
Thuney.
Aaron Brewer actually had a really strong case, too.
If you would have told me it wasn't going to be a tackle, I would have said Aaron Brewer.
Yeah.
But
they didn't win any games, and he's a center, and I don't know who's
Thuney.
watching Aaron Brewer tape, but whatever.
Comeback Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey.
Hey, he didn't do anything last year, and he was a monster this year. I don't like that award, but okay, he's fine.
I don't like it just because the parameters around it are so unknown.
Yeah.
Is it because you come back from a devastating injury? Is it because you do the Ryan Tannehill, Geno Smith, you have a career resurgence when everybody thought you were finished?
Right.
There's just no real – everyone thought DeMar Hamlin was going to win it because of the health stuff, and he didn't. So there's no real – it's
right.
It feels
it's too
very
vague,
much like
and sometimes
a shot
it's
in the dark.
Sometimes it's a backhanded compliment, too. Like, you stunk for the last 3 years, and this year you were good.
That was Ryan Tannehill and Geno Smith.
Yeah, you came back
or
from
it was
being
like
bad.
Alex Smith, your leg needed practically amputated, and you still found a way to carry on. That one is always kind of up in the air, but I'm not saying McCaffrey's not deserving.
No, he would have been my vote, too.
Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel, New England Patriots. Year one, he gets the award for best coach in the NFL.
These awards are placed after the regular season.
They are. So and that's the way it should be.
The way it should be.
They should have to vote before the first round of the playoffs.
And I think Bears, Jags, Niners coaches all had a real strong case too. And this year was as good as any. But I'm not going to fight anybody on Vrabel. I mean, they picked like third in the draft last year.
This is the award that I think you could have made a good faith argument legitimately for 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 different candidates. And if you're acting like one was the clear righteous winner or that somebody has been completely hard done by Vrabel getting the award, I think you'd be missing the plot.
Exactly.
I think this was probably the hardest one to vote on and decide upon.
It probably had the most split votes or the most people that were voted for.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it. So let's see here. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Carson Schwetzinger, linebacker, Cleveland Browns.
So the Browns have 2 defensive awards and lost their defensive coordinator for good today and won 4 games or 5 games or whatever.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, Carson Schwetzinger had a heck of a year. Second round pick. He's going to be very good for a long time. Another one that was kind of a 2-horse race. Offensive Player of the Year. It's Jackson Smith and Jigba.
I'm cool with it. I really am. I don't know if we'll get time. We're squashing so much in today, but I urge people just to look how Seattle was built since the day they basically traded Russell Wilson. All their first and second round picks are just massive hits. I mean, they traded Wilson for 2 firsts, 2 seconds. They traded Metcalf for a second. They traded Geno for a third. All in the course of like a 3-year stretch or whatever. Didn't miss on any picks. And Smith-Njigba is the poster boy for that. I mean, we all knew he was good, but boy, he took a step forward this year.
He became a different animal this year. Assistant Coach of the Year, Josh McDaniels, as you mentioned.
Great work.
That's hard to argue against, but that's one of those that's tough to have an opinion on.
It is
because of how wide open that, or just how much unknown behind the scenes stuff there is.
And if there was an assistant coach wing in the Hall of Fame, he'd be in it too.
I think that's well said.
10 times a Super Bowl. I mean,
it's impressive.
Yeah,
it certainly is impressive.
And what's crazy is it's pretty unlikely at this point that anyone's going to come poach him. I mean, I think the May, Vrabel, McDaniels trio ain't going anywhere.
Agreed.
And it kind of has that Reed, Spags, Mahomes feel to it. You know, like, we're going to be here a long time, guys.
I don't like to say you're right, but I think you're right there, Matt Williamson. Just getting started here on The Drive on this Super Bowl Friday. We'll hand out some final position report cards when we return on the other side. Just getting started here. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. All right, Matt, it is our last day here to sit in the teacher's chair, to sit behind the teacher's desk, principal's desk, whatever, and hand out some grades, hand out some report cards from this 2025 Steelers season that is now in the books. And, Matt, I'm very excited because I think in a fun way we saved the best for last. Let's start with the quarterbacks.
Okay.
And namely, it's really a one-person conversation.
Yeah, Rudolph showed up.
Because we didn't see any Will Howard. That's an incomplete that we discussed.
He doesn't count, right. Never saw the field.
Never saw the field.
The same as Corey Trice.
Not even in a preseason game or something like that where you could deduce a little bit from. And Mason Rudolph played 5 quarters, 6 quarters total.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess we could have some thoughts on Mason. But obviously, this is pretty much a one-man band.
Of course.
A solo act. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback room report card.
I'm going to start with Rudolph just because we did see some.
Okay.
And this is hard on him because we saw so little. But I expected more.
I did too.
Yeah.
It's a tough ask because it's a one-game sample size. But
that's the nature of that position.
It is.
I need you to come in relief. And
it's like out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
It's like the backup goalie. It's like.
You can't let up 4 goals coming out. I mean, that's the nature of the beast.
The guy that you bring off the bench in the last 2 minutes of the basketball game because he's a good free throw shooter.
Make the hoop.
You got to step up to the line and knock it
Yeah,
down.
right. You know, get me out of the inning.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't think he did. And again, this is probably harsh, but if Rodgers, we know Howard's going to be on the team, and you drafted Nuss or somebody like that, well, I'm a lot more prone to say I'd move off from Rudolph off this year than opposed to this time last year. You know what I mean? Like, maybe Howard's already a real quality too and gives me the Rudolph stuff or whatever, So his stock went down from a year ago or from 6 months ago or whatever. That's probably harsh.
I think it's harsh but fair.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the position. I'm sure he would echo that same sentiment. It is a bizarre place to be because
it is.
When he re-signed with the Steelers, I thought he could be the backup quarterback for the next 6, 7, 8 years.
He looks like Gronkowski or Leftwich or Charlie or right.
Exactly right. He could be a good backup quarterback until his late 30s.
And that still might be true.
And that still absolutely might be true.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to kick him to the curb. Go draft somebody else and kick him to the curb.
Sure.
But
But his roster spot wouldn't prohibit me from doing it.
This time last year, if you would have said, do you think there's a chance that Mason Rudolph is not on the active roster September of 2026? I would have said absolutely not.
No,
he might be starting. He might be the starter at that point.
Right.
Now I think it's certainly a possibility. Like you mentioned, if they go and they get a Nuss or a Trinidad Chambliss who's now on the board.
Or even like a 5th-round pick.
Sawyer Robinson, Taylon Green.
Yeah.
And it's that guy, and Will Howard proves that he can be a capable number 2, and they say, thank you to your service for Mason Rudolph.
Mm-hmm. And it might be deep into camp, and somebody gives you a 7th-round pick for him or something like that. You know what I mean? I've seen enough of Howard to be like, I'm getting the same thing from both. I might as well get the younger, cheaper guy as the 2.
Someone's backup gets hurt in camp or something like that, and someone says we can part with a 6th or 7th round pick to bring in a Mason
something
Rudolph.
like that. Yeah,
exactly right.
Okay, but enough on him. I mean, obviously this is the Rodgers conversation. Mostly good. I think numbers and some film could lead you down a path where you don't want to go back to him, and I understand that. But I think his presence carries a lot of weight in this conversation too. And
the intangibles with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, the wisdom. I keep calling him wise because he's old. But he's so knowledgeable of the game, and I want him around, and I don't think he's going to really change how he plays the game. I mean, he is an old dog that is not, changing the tricks.
He's an old, accomplished dog.
That's the thing.
He's won Best in Show 4 times.
Yes. We talked about the awards. He used to be in those every year, So I have great respect for him. But I do think in today's NFL, if you're not a runner, you have to be Matthew Stafford. I mean, you have to be an MVP from the pocket player. Mm-hmm. It's so important now. And so much of it comes down to my O-line is as good as the D-line, so I need an improv player.
And as you say, if you're one of those traditional pocket passing quarterbacks, defensive coordinators look at that when they're preparing and they say thank you.
They say thanks.
One less thing
so
that
you have to be the best in the
for.
league at it. You have to be Burrow, and he's got a lot more athleticism than Rodgers. You know what I mean? You need to be Stafford, an MVP type of guy. It's a hard way to win. I mean, on 3rd and 4, if you can't scramble when things go wrong, because they always go wrong in any team, that really bothers me. Throwing short of the sticks over and over and over. Not necessarily short passing game. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there's something to be said for that, and that got better as the season went on. I mean, he was at the bottom of the league of average depth of target, but he's also historically low of throwing short of the sticks.
Yes.
And I don't think, and I'm sure some of that, I don't think that it's 100%, I don't want to get hit, I'm getting the ball in my hands. But there is some of that, I think, at his age, and it happened to all of them.
It happens to every quarterback
38-plus guys
that is fortunate enough to play into their 40-ish.
Let's not forget they're humans.
It's the same with Ben at the end of his career. Same with Brady at the end of his career.
Eli, Breeze, who just went in, Matt Ryan, Peyton Manning, all those dudes got it out. Partially because they're so good above the neck too.
Sure,
they could read things quick too. So fortunately, you can play long. But I'm going to give him a B. So I'll give the whole position a B-. Just that smidge of Rudolph's enough to, and that's compared to 31 other rooms. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, that's not compared to what we've had here lately. Mm-hmm. That's an A. But
or at least like a B+.
Right. I mean, it's way better. It's the best it's been in a while. And I believe on the right day, this might sound foolish after watching the Texans, that he could win you that coveted playoff game that, where I never felt Rudolph or Trubisky or Pickett or, I mean,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a time when the Steelers were 10-3 and leaving Washington with that crazy ending and the Russell Wilson touchdown pass to Williams and then getting them to jump off sides at the end of the game.
Like, okay.
We were like, this team could potentially make some noise, but then they lost,
Then they proved
5
otherwise.
straight.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, no, 4 straight to end the regular season, and then the playoff game as well to make it 5 total. And yeah, there was absolutely times this past year where I don't think anyone was saying, "Here we go, Super Bowl."
No,
but definitely you could win a home playoff game, and then who knows? And then you
this
get
is
a
a
couple
better
bounces the
version
next
going
week.
into the
Yes.
playoffs than it had been.
Than going to Arrowhead a few years ago,
Buffalo.
going to Buffalo, going to Baltimore,
right?
Yeah,
And I think Rodgers had a lot to do with that.
He totally did,
and he probably should have been team MVP.
I think he definitely.
Yeah, but he's not a top 10 quarterback in the league anymore.
No,
I mean he's not better than Dak, and let alone the guys we just talked about for MVP, and and the running thing's a problem.
And this is more of a one of the things that I have in our off-season conversation is to talk about what it looks like if it is Aaron Rodgers under center in 2026. And I know that doesn't relate directly to this, but I still it's hard not to kind of view the season in increments. Whereas at times, beginning of the year, Seattle game aside, I thought there was a lot of success out of the chute for the offense. And then there was some stagnant, and then it felt like they found their footing again, and then there was some stagnant. It was kind of up and down roller coaster nature.
Like there was that Chargers game was like, whoa, this is bad.
Buffalo Bills game.
Yeah.
But then you played some really good ones down the stretch. I thought,
and I'm just talking about the quarterback position specifically too. The Chargers was like, ooh, this might be the beginning of the end.
Rough.
Yeah.
But Baltimore on the road was really good and encouraging down the stretch. There were some of those games down the stretch as well where I thought Cleveland was a bad one. So it was kind of, it was kind of back and forth.
And part of me would be excited to see him and McCarthy get the band back together too.
Sure.
Right.
I think what you said is fair, though. I'm going to give Aaron Rodgers a B. I would lean closer to B+ for him than B-.
Okay.
But overall for the room, I'm going to give them a B-. I would lean closer to B than C+. Did you get what I'm saying? But I think a B is right for Aaron Rodgers. Pro Football Focus had him graded 29th out of 38 eligible quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right.
I'm sure some of it has to do with no running.
And that's, of course, that's, to
like
be fair, that's a huge part of it.
It's like Derrick Henry, it doesn't catch passes. You know what I mean? It doesn't.
Agreed.
He's good at what he does, but he doesn't do
wondering,
that.
actually, if I do just passing on here, where they have Aaron Rodgers ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
That's
so
better.
A little bit better. Not much better, but they have him 22 just in terms of pure passing.
I do think he's better than the 22nd best quarterback in the league still, though.
I do too. But you and I had, going into this season in training camp, we had the conversation of, is Aaron Rodgers still top 12, I think was how we framed it. And I think we said he's right around that range. Now I would say he's closer to 16. He's closer to...
You can start listing names pretty quick.
16 to 18, 19 range, which again is still good enough to be effective, but it's not enough to carry an offense and put you over the top.
And he has his moments.
He certainly does.
I mean, he sure has his moments, that's for sure. Now, this is sort of a side note, and I bet people know this about me already, but when we start talking about drafting the next quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's going to be really hard to convince me when you have a lot to choose from and you hit your wagon to a young player with a high pick. It's going to take a lot to convince me of a guy that's not at least as mobile as Burrow. You know what I mean? Like Mendoza's like at the line.
He's the Mendoza line.
Yeah, he's kind of the Mendoza running line. Yeah, well done.
That works. In fact, we might be onto something
there
there going
go.
forward, Matt.
You need to be at least that.
I think anybody that would argue with that right now is crazy.
Doesn't understand the league.
They're either a dinosaur who's been in this league for 50 years and refuses to change, or they're just someone with their head buried in the sand.
Yeah, it's too important.
I completely agree, and that is certainly, you're right. It's not the end-all, be-all, certainly, when evaluating quarterbacks, but there is a line, a Mendoza line that you have to clear.
And, hey, I'd love a Lamar Allen athlete, but, I mean, why do you think they're so good? It sure adds to it.
Absolutely. Safeties, Matt Williamson.
Ooh, okay.
This is an interesting one. Got to include Ramsey in this conversation.
Of course.
Chuck Clark Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers, Jalen Ramsey, Deshaun Elliott. I think that's
Thornhill.
Juan Thornhill. Good call. I knew I was forgetting somebody. And
Killebrew doesn't count.
I don't know. Killebrew doesn't count. I don't think Sebastian Castro counts.
No. Let's do a little bit of a timeline. I mean, it was Thornhill and Elliott were your opening day starters.
Yes.
And Elliott would have been the starter stop to finish, and my grade on him is a B+ or an A-. But I think you have to look at it this way, too, is if there were 2,000 snaps of safety play this year, and I'm just making this up, and Elliott played 500 of it, well, he only accounts for 25% of your grade. And he didn't play enough. The Thornhill stuff was bad.
That's why he was
why
he was in and out, like a fast food restaurant.
Similar to the Slay conversation. I mean, that was a failed mistake. Mm-hmm. Chuck Clark did some things, but I think he's one
of those guys you're not a fan of.
Yeah.
For anyone who's listened to this show for more than 5 minutes.
He doesn't run well.
He doesn't have the turning speed, the closing speed that you want at that position.
As you've been citing, I mean, I think the offense coordinator's real happy he's on the field. Peppers, I don't know why he didn't play more, but I thought that he should out-snap Clark. They never agreed with me. I have to defer to them, of course. They're there. Does he not know his assignments? Is he not on the right page here?
He was their highest-graded safety in run defense. Jabril Peppers was.
Does it have his snap counts?
It
doesn't matter if he doesn't.
100 snaps on defense.
Yeah, when they picked him up, I thought he'd be way more involved.
That's way low. Chuck Clark 470, Duggar 775, Jalen Ramsey, as we said yesterday, was second on the team in snaps. Almost 1,200 for Jalen Ramsey, 281 for Deshaun Elliott.
Duggar's another tough one. There's some splash, and he was way better early in his Steeler career than mid and later.
I think you still make that trade 100 times out of 100.
Oh, you didn't give anything up.
You needed him.
You'd be worse off without him.
You'd be worse off without him. Like, he was way more of a success.
Yes.
But you're right. There was towards
Elliott's way better though.
Towards the end, there was some of that shine wore off a little bit, and some coordinators started to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah. Ramsey as a safety is an interesting conversation because
he's another one that we're going to have here pretty soon.
Because
maybe
not to mention,
week.
He's expensive too in terms of bringing him back.
How do you value his cost, his experience, the intangibles that he brings to?
Yeah. And I know that he came to Florida State as a safety.
Giving him the opportunity to really learn to be a safety and not just hopping on the moving train in the middle of the year.
It's like throwing Faneca from guard to left tackle to get you out of the game and be like, well, you got beat with speed off his outside shoulder. It's like, well, that's not what he is.
You're right.
Give him a year to learn and he's been okay. Because there were some angles and some things that Ramsey did as a safety that were rookie-ish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As a guy who's playing that position for the first time.
Yeah. I think he's only a safety.
Only a safety.
Had a C+ season.
I was thinking C+, B-.
Yeah, I was torn between the two. Yeah. And I'd give the position as a whole a C-.
Yeah.
I think Ramsey, if you graded them all, Elliott would be my best grade. Ramsey's probably my second. Mm-hmm. And if he's a C, or would I give him a C+?
C+.
And everybody else is below that.
Yeah.
And they played a lot of snaps.
I think it's a C, C-.
Yeah, those Thornhill snaps count.
It didn't absolutely sink you.
They were smart to adjust.
They were smart.
It could have got worse.
It could have absolutely. Yeah. They absolutely improved it, given the cards that they were dealt, missing Deshaun Elliott for such a huge stretch. But it was still. I think if you go D or F, it's too far.
Yeah.
But I think anything higher than a C is probably too much. C is average, right?
Yeah.
And that's about what it was.
Because Ramsey made some impact plays.
He did.
And he's a presence, and he's a hitter, and I think he can be a really good safety. But this whole conversation makes me, I've been on the fence on it, makes me think one of those 3 third-round picks maybe should be on an athletic safety, no matter what you do with everybody else.
And let me tell you, before we close with our special teamers here real quick, let me tell you this, Matt. If Tyler Loop makes that field goal and the Steelers lose that final game of the season, we're talking a lot more about Jalen Ramsey and Isaiah Likely on that 4th and
Oh, yeah.
A million fourth
Right.
and, that 20-some yard gain right in front of Jalen Ramsey that he did not play well.
The play you can't give up,
You can't give up, he gave up, and you got away with it, but I think our tune would be very different if that would have been the play that kind of sunk you and the Ravens make that field goal.
And I'll be honest, all those players we mentioned are on the slow side for safeties in today's NFL, including Ramsey.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Yeah, at his age. Again, you need to be faster, more athletic in the secondary.
Matt, we got like 2 minutes. Do you want to do Boz and Waitman, or do you want to save that for next week?
Let's do it next week.
Okay.
Because I think we got to talk a little bit about coverage teams and kickoff returns. I don't think it's just I'm not going to break down Christian Kuntz, but I mean, I think there's more to it than just a dude swinging their legs.
That's what TV was asking me earlier today. He was like, when you guys do special teams, he's like, how in depth? Like, do we need Kuntz footage here? Do we need
find some
do we
Kuntz
need Ben
highlights,
Skowronek,
TV.
Gunner footage here? I was like, it'll be Boz and Waitman, but
Skowronek went to the Pro Bowl. He's going to come up.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Hey, he was a guest on the show this year. That's what happens. You come on the show as a guest, and good things happen. So you're right. Let's couch that one for next week, and we can have a little bit more of a thorough conversation of those guys. And I think there's some good Boswell conversation to have too.
Yeah.
After what was still by league standards a great year for him, but by his standard might have been a slight step
especially
back.
After the year he had the year before.
It's kind of like the
ridiculous.
TJ Watt conversation.
Right,
Your standards are so stinking high, you can almost only go backwards.
Boz only one direction to go.
Yes.
What's he going to do? Make every
He can
kick?
either plateau or he can get worse. You can't really get better when you're the best of the best. But let's couch that. We'll save that for next week. Matt, I want to, before we turn the page completely to the Super Bowl in hour number 2, some interesting conversation between Rob King and Mike McCarthy.
Oh, that's cool.
Some real good stuff on the trenches, on the quarterbacks, on heading into the offseason. We'll play some of that to close down the first hour when we return. It is The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Busy, beefy first hour here on The Drive. In hour number 2, we are going to deep dive into, of course, Sunday's big game, Super Bowl 60, all the stats, all the matchups. I've got some would you rathers for Matt Williamson that I want to throw at him in hour number 2. We'll obviously get to some of your tweets and our predictions, final thoughts on how Sunday's game will play out. But before we kind of turn the page and fully focus on Sunday's big game, I did want to play a few comments from Rob King's one-on-one with Steelers head coach Mike McCarthy. We've been all over the place these last couple weeks, right? Keeping in lockstep with the playoffs and the Super Bowl, all the coaching changes around the NFL, and of course here in Pittsburgh. But I didn't want to miss this because a really good, just a couple minutes of Rob King, our guy, of course, the voice of the Steelers, the host of In the Locker Room with Max Starks, sitting down for just a few minutes with Mike McCarthy as he gets ready to attack his first off season as Steelers head coach. Here's what he had to say.
This city, this franchise, this fan base means the world to me. Because Pittsburgh's my world, and it's just awesome to be back here.
So, first of all, Mike, congratulations.
Thank
and
you.
What is it like to be the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh, wow. Surreal. I know I keep saying that, but it's it's numbing to a point. But just to grow up here and, the great teams of the 70s. The 70s was, such a great decade. 4 Super Bowls, and you had the Pirates winning 2 World Series. Pitt won a national championship in 76. So, Pittsburgh is just a, huge part of who I am and how I was raised, with my parents, right there in the, in the neighborhood of Greenfield. So it's amazing on so many different levels. The professional opportunity is incredible. I'm obviously very much in tune with, the way the Rooneys, operate. To think that you have the opportunity to work for Art Rooney is, you got to pinch yourself. So, but to be home personally too is just I feel like it was meant to be, frankly.
So, a whirlwind, right? You fly in, you go over, you sign the contract, you come over, you talk to the press. So, what's it been like?
It was great. To have your family there, obviously my parents and my kids, and that could get here, and so it tugs at you without a doubt. But at the end of the day, I'm a football coach. I am really looking forward to getting started. I know what this team means to the fan base. I know how passionate it is back here. I mean, I'm excited to wear the black and gold. It's what I grew up on.
How about the support of former players, current players showing up as well?
That was outstanding, and just for them to show up, that means a lot. See Mel Blount. Geez, I mean, God, could you imagine going against those receivers still today? It's just, definitely to see Joey Porter. I haven't seen Joey in a while, and to see Junior there too, I thought that was awesome, and Alex and all those guys. So
you were asked during the press conference about your desire to coach again. What was the process like leading up to the interviews?
To be honest with you, my desire to coach again, frankly, never left. I mean, if you would see my home office, I think you'd understand, just my process. I have a book from every game I coached in since 1989. I have a library that's extensive. Frankly, I went back and looked at some things from 2010 offensively that I, may go back to, just as far as variations of scheme, because scheme in our game it's an evolving. I've always looked at it that way, and it's important that to stay on the front end of the scheme variations come in our league and they go back out. So just doing things like that. So I always stayed in it. It's not that I was away, but I'm really proud of the family time that I spent because I think all coaches, and I know myself, could have done a better job of that in my earlier years. So my two youngest are 14 and 17. So just the time that I've had specifically with them has been a blessing.
What is your general assessment of the Steelers roster?
It's a playoff roster. I mean, how many playoff teams come open to a new head coach? And so, I mean, that's the way I view it. But it's really how do you move the needle? That's something I'm always looking for. How do you move the needle of the men in that locker room? So we'll do a hell of a job to bring together a 90-man roster. Be it super competitive. I'm a big believer. My career reflects that of draft, develop, and retain. I think the second contract of your players is reflective of what your program's doing and how you're moving that along. So, I'm looking forward to adding a hell of a draft class. I'm excited about having 2 extra weeks in the off-season program and getting to know these guys, number one. But just make sure we're setting the course, to train and compete, and then when we get to week 1, we'll be ready to go.
Omar Khan and his staff, the last 3 drafts that he's been in charge of, have really invested a lot in the offensive and defensive lines. Does that align with your own philosophies?
Love it. Love it. I think it's just you don't have to go any further than the playoff teams. I mean, you can't win any of these games without winning in the trenches. Because the trenches set up everything. So I don't think you can have enough linemen. You can't really have enough players, as we know. But the game changes when you lose guys up front, and they're hard to find. Especially you get into November, December. So. But, I don't think you're going to have enough offensive and defensive linemen.
You've worked with a lot of great quarterbacks. You've also had success with quarterbacks whose resumes aren't Hall of Fame resumes. Art Rooney identified getting you to help develop the next quarterback is an important thing for the Steelers. Regardless of who you're working with, a veteran or a younger player who you're trying to develop, how important is that for you?
I mean, it's super important. And frankly, that's my foundation, developing quarterbacks. And I can't wait to work with Will Hyatt. It's important to, have a complete understanding of, who he is, where he is, and, what his starting point and the fact he's going into year 2. I love that. I love getting guys in their first or second year because I've felt that's where, my experience has been you can make the biggest impact. And I look back at the guys that I was able to work with them in the first and second year. I take a lot of pride in what we were able to accomplish and what they've done moving on from there, because it's just like anything, whether you're playing or coaching, to have people that can build a foundation with. I mean, if you look at my career at Pitt, the coaches that I was able to work with as an assistant, I mean, it's multiple, head coaches in the NFL. Most of all of our staff at Pitt went to the NFL. So, and then, now the same thing, I get into the league and be able to work with these quarterbacks. I'm 28, 29 years old, and I'm in my first quarterback rooms, Joe Montana and Dave Craig. I mean, I think they were 38 and 37. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, I couldn't take notes fast enough. So, just the experiences that I've been able to learn from, and that's where where I am in my life. I try to give that back to the coaches and the players that I work with now.
Mike, thank you. Congratulations.
Hey, it was great meeting you.
Appreciate
Thank
it. You as well.
Thank you.
It's been a heck of a football life for Mike McCarthy, and one that has led him back to his hometown in a heck of an opportunity heading into his first season with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hour in the books, another hour to go. Hour number 2, we are deep diving into everything Super Bowl 60. When we return, on the other side, Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. Hour number 2 here on The Drive. Final hour of this week. Final hour until Super Bowl 60. Sunday night, 6:30 in Santa Clara there at Levi Stadium. And in what will be, obviously, hopefully, a memorable edition of the big game, Matt Williamson. And we're going to spend hour number 2 here diving into it and dissecting it and predicting it and all that.
Yeah.
All that good stuff. Super Bowl hour here on the show. I got a little surprise for you to get us started. I want to talk to you about some specific matchups.
Huh.
But first, I've got some Wes's stats for you, Super Bowl edition, that I want to run by you, okay? Let's start a few from the Seattle side, few from the New England side. Seattle side, Sam Darnold, 0-4 in his career against the New England Patriots. That's the second most losses without a win by a quarterback in their career against an opponent entering a Super Bowl matchup.
Now, asterisks
because he spent a lot of those years with the Jets, and they were really bad, and
when
Tom
the Patriots
Brady
were really
and the
good.
Patriots were really good.
You were the third pick in the draft in a year on a terrible team when the juggernaut is in your division.
Correct.
So I'm not sure I'm going to blame him for that.
No, but one last juggernaut for Sam Darnold to slay on his way to fully changing that reputation. Including the playoffs, Jackson Smith-Njigba is seeking his 11th game this year with at least 100 receiving yards. If he reaches that mark, it'll tie for the third most in a season by an NFL wide receiver.
He really has had a historic season. I mean, not this come out of nowhere, but I didn't see this jump. I mean, he's been unbelievable.
And if he puts the whipped cream and the cherry on top and ends with a Super Bowl championship and maybe even a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah. And he got an award last night.
I mean, it would be like Cooper Kupp, 5 or 6 years ago when he had that triple crown Super Bowl MVP year. That was one of the best single seasons we've ever seen a wide receiver have.
Chase won the Triple Crown recently.
Yeah. Jackson Smith-Njigba is knocking on that door with the personal accolades and potentially the team achievement to put you over the top. I mean, he's doing incredible stuff.
So you obviously know this, and everybody does, but the wide receivers coming out of Ohio State the last 5-6 years
insane.
are insane.
It's incredible.
But when they interviewed the other ones, they all said JSN's the best.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought that.
Like him and Emeka Egbuka, obviously they went to Ohio State, so they were great high school players and
of
recruits.
Course.
Ohio State isn't picking through 2-star, comb-overs that are choosing between.
But they're not Marvin Harrison Jr.
But they're not Marvin Harrison Jr. or Chris Henry Jr. or Jeremiah Smith.
Well, I don't think those two count in this conversation yet. They might change things, but right.
They certainly might.
Yeah.
But no, it's a huge testament to the year that he's having. Defensive end,
And funny, the Egbuka and JSN are like wide revers. Do the dirty work, fine-tune route running, that
they're
type
not
of
the
thing.
diva type. They're not the diva type at all.
I'm sure I'll remember, but combine 3-cone drill for wide receivers.
Big.
And JSN was like one of the best ever. And he plays that way.
That's the
low to the ground,
separation route running.
Yeah, changing direction. Yep. 3 cones for tight ends, wide receivers, and edge rushers, I pay a lot of attention to. And I always think of that when we talk about JSN because he had like one of the best ever.
When we get to the combine here in a few weeks, we will have a Weird World of Matt Williamson segment.
That's one of them.
Where you'll describe to us why the 3-cone is so important in great detail for certain positions. Number 3, I got four for each team here. Number 3 for the Seahawks, defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence. He has recorded a sack, both a sack and a forced fumble in both of the Seahawks' postseason wins. Okay? So
he's been phenomenal for
the Niners and the Rams. He had a sack and a forced fumble in each game. If he does it again in the Super Bowl for a third straight game, first player in this century to do so defensively in a postseason run.
Well, he's going to be alone on Will Campbell a lot and has a major advantage.
I know.
And his style of play is not what Will Campbell wants to do
It's
either.
one of the matchups that I have down here to discuss with you that I'm sure you think favors Seattle.
For sure.
Last one for Seattle. The Seahawks are the first team to lead the NFL in scoring defense in the regular season and make it to the Super Bowl since the 2016 New England Patriots. Teams that led the NFL in scoring defense in the regular season and then made it to the Super Bowl, 14-4 all time.
Wow. I'm sure there's like some Steeler teams in the 70s and the Ravens they were
team.
awesome. The Tampa
maybe
team.
that Broncos team with Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I'm sure that they were defensive-driven powerhouses.
So that's some Wes's stats for Seattle for you there. Now here's a few for New England before we get into some matchups. The Patriots have averaged 18 points per game this postseason, fourth lowest by any team entering the Super Bowl, and the lowest since the 1979 Rams.
Okay. I was basically aware of that. I didn't know it was that extreme. But, and I do have some concerns about their offense, especially in this matchup, and it doesn't get any easier. They've played 3 really good defenses.
Yes, they have.
And have had massive weather implications, too.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
Context does always matter.
Yes.
The Patriots are the first team since the 1970 merger to defeat, first team since the 1970 merger to defeat 3 of the top 5 teams in total defense en route to the Super Bowl. Speaking to
there we go.
what you just
Houston,
said.
Denver. I mean, right.
Including the playoffs, New England has led at halftime in 17 of the 20 games they've played this season. That is tied with the 1948 49ers for the most such leads in a season in the Super Bowl era.
Okay. Again, their path has not
games.
been particularly hard. Like Aaron Schatz from Football Outsiders, now FTN, basically said that this was maybe the easiest path to the Super Bowl by DVOA standards from any team since the undefeated Dolphins in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, like no one thinks about that. You were undefeated. That's great. But they had like a historically easy schedule. They played like 2 teams with a winning record or something.
Steelers, crazy. Panthers, and Bills were the only playoff teams they played in the regular season.
Okay. And even like Denver didn't have Knicks.
Correct.
You know, like there were some bounces that went their way too. And Stroud imploded.
The Chargers
against them
were
too.
playing with their JV offensive
right.
line.
They didn't have any offensive tackles. And I mean, these things happen, but it can't be ignored.
Speaking to your how important it is to have a quarterback that can move in modern football line of thinking, Drake May, 129 rush yards on scrambles alone during the playoffs, fourth most by a QB already in any single postseason in the last 20 years.
It's something I'm definitely going to harp on breaking down the game because he's going to be under a lot of pressure and his wheels are going to be super important. And they kind of, I thought, were the difference in the Denver game. I mean, when the weather hit, Nix wasn't in there, and he's a really good runner, maybe close to an equal runner to May. And it was a lot easier to design quarterback scrambles and things of that nature. Just make something happen. You know, like recess football. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And May might have been the difference.
Last one, and this will kind of lead into the matchup segment where we'll matchup conversation where we'll talk about these guys more specifically. But including the playoffs, the Patriots, in games this year that both Christian Gonzalez and Milton Williams play, they are a perfect 12-0.
Doesn't totally shock me.
And have allowed just 14.5 points per game in those 12 wins.
So I heard a stat on the way here about Milton Williams, and this isn't exact, but it's kind of like the Cam Hayward rush defense numbers from last year, where when he's on the field, they're averaging by far the best yards per carry allowed in the league. When he wasn't, which was a good chunk, it was like over 5 yards a carry, you know. And he's not even considered a run stuffer, but he's just so disruptive and tackles for loss and all those things. I have one stat, and it's very blatant. I don't always look at the Super Bowl like a road game, but it's definitely not a home game.
Sure.
And it's a whole different beast, but it's basically you're not in your home stadium.
And these are like the 2 best
That's what I said.
in the league.
The Patriots are 8-0 on the road, and
I think the Seattle lost one
they're
road game.
8-1.
Is that right?
yeah. So I think they're 16-1 on the road.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
And
then you factor in. Does that include the Patriots win in Denver, or that's just regular
no, that
season?
was just regular season.
So 15-1 in the regular season, these two teams away from home,
Wow.
and then 16-1 if you add the playoffs.
Which you should, right?
That's crazy.
Wow, they've one loss collectively on the road.
Wild.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah.
All right, Matt, let's get into some specific matchups here, some 5-Star Friday matchups,
Okay.
if you will. And let's start with some names that we've mentioned. Jackson Smith-Njigba, of course, reigning Offensive Player of the Year, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks, against Patriots corner Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, so I don't know if you'll bring Kenneth Walker up in a matchup or not, too, but this team, especially
I do not have him listed for a specific
he's been really,
one-on-one.
really good. But Seattle's offense was not elite this year, by the way. I mean, they were like 14th in DVOA and EPA, and, they were above average offense, but they were not a powerhouse offense by any means.
No.
Which, I'm not giving the Raiders a hard time for taking their offense coordinator, but he did not coordinate an elite offense, and he was only there 1 year. But as everyone probably knows, they really get the ball in Walker, now with Charbonnet out, and JSN's hands. I mean, those guys are going to get plays designed for them. They may get 65% of the touches. I mean, because the running backs, you get a ton of them, And I wonder, with his Belichick roots, and I can't stress this enough, having the extra week in the Super Bowl is huge for these coaches. I mean, they will definitely, every Super Bowl, every coordinator put something on tape the opponent hasn't seen.
Yes.
Some blitz package or, some scheme.
Some Antoine Randall doing something.
Exactly.
Although he did that in the first round of the playoffs against Cincinnati, too. But you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Some type of trick
There's
play.
going to be something specific for this game.
The Philly special
Exactly.
with Nick Foles.
Perfect example, right. And there's definitely or how they block something up that not anyone would even notice. But I wonder, Vrabel, learning his roots from Belichick. Belichick was always take away what they do best. I'm going to let Holt and Bruce beat me, but I'm not letting Falk, I wonder how much they dedicate things to either Smith-Njigba or Walker just to say, you might beat us, but it's going to be with Barner and Kupp and Shaheed or something. Will they really dedicate themselves to maybe taking Smith-Njigba out of the game as much as possible or whatever? I'm just curious about that. Another big Belichick thing, which isn't, alone, but instead of putting his number one corner, Revis, as part of the time, or whoever the Patriots' top corner was in the day, Revis, the one that came to mind the most.
Ty Law,
great one.
Sante Samuel.
Yeah.
They had a couple good ones.
They definitely had some good ones.
Ty Law, Aliquippa, no big deal.
But he would often put that guy on the number 2 receiver alone, no help at all. Just eliminate that guy, crush him, and then truly double the other guy.
Gotcha.
So I don't know how much Gonzalez versus JSN we'll see because, Gonzalez doesn't want to move to the slot. He's a lot like Porter, tall, angular, outside the numbers type player. So maybe he just locks down like Cooper Kupp.
Interesting.
I'm just curious. Yeah.
Next one that I had to run by you, we mentioned Milton Williams, of course. Won the Super Bowl last year with the Eagles, signed that big contract as part of the kind of the first wave of Mike Vrabel's new era, and is now right back in the big game against the interior of that Seattle offensive line.
Yeah. I think this is the Patriots' biggest advantage in the whole game. Zabel's a very good left guard.
But he's a rookie.
And he's played 20-some games and didn't do that at North Dakota State or wherever and is playing his first Super Bowl. But he's good. Center and especially right guard is bad. Right guard, I mean, they may draft a guard again.
Anthony Bradford.
Yeah.
I think they'll try and get Milton Williams on him as much as possible.
And Barmore is tremendous, too. I mean, Barmore, unfortunately, missed all last year with blood clot issues. But getting both those two back, it's one of the reasons when we were talking like D tackles and draft needs, I'm really getting aggressive and greedy with adding one more defensive tackle. Because you look at these best defenses in the league, Seattle's a perfect example. New England's a perfect example. They got a duo of Tuitt and Hayward. You know what I mean? They got that type of duo. And if people, I bet a lot of our listeners are probably like, New England's not at that level. Yeah, they are. I mean, they absolutely are. Barmore's ridiculously talented and playing great.
He's a outstanding Robin.
Exactly. They're a really good pairing. And that, to me, is Darnold's going to have a lot of interior pressure.
I think that is, like you mentioned, the New England's biggest opportunity to dominate an area of the game.
Which is a great place to start. I mean, if I can dominate guard to guard in a run and pass game, it's a good start.
Look what it did for the Eagles last year in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Matt, we mentioned this one that we would get to it, but Patriots rookie top 5 pick left tackle Will Campbell against the veteran, the defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence has really rejuvenated his career there.
Has he ever?
They signed him to a 3-year deal, and I'm like, really? I mean, there must be funny money at the end, and maybe there is. But
Void
I'm like,
year or something like
I'm like,
that.
this is a guy that's kind of declining, has a great career, but he's been perfect for them. He is super physical, really powerful. And then they'll bring in like Boye Mafe and Hall and those guys off the edge that are speed balls, and so they don't make him play a ton of snaps. Campbell's really, really struggled, and he doesn't deal with power well.
No, he does not.
No.
He's got those little alligator arms that you like to talk about, and I think this is one that...
He's a good movement blocker. You get him in space and blocking downfield in the run game, really good at that stuff. But in terms of holding up and setting an edge and sinking your butt and, really being able to deal with power, it's not what he does well.
Matt, those were the specific matchups that I wanted to run by you. Any that I missed on that you think deserve hitting before we get to break?
I'm sure people are aware, but the entire Seattle D-line has a massive advantage. No, it's not just Campbell.
So that's one of the things that I but we can talk about that now. I think the biggest question is, other than quarterback play and some of that other stuff, but which defensive line can feast on the opposition offensive line the most? It feels like New England and Seattle, their defensive lines have a great advantage over their counter offensive lines.
Yes.
And
Seattle's is greater, though.
Who can really make that shine through over the course of 60 minutes?
So, talking about May, I think this could go two ways with how he's remembered in his first Super Bowl, and they both are Mahomesian. It could be last year where Mahomes was just, it doesn't matter who you are, it's too much pressure, I can't overcome it. The Eagles are just coming and coming and coming, and my guys aren't blocking it.
I don't care how good I am when there's an apex predator in my face in 0.7 seconds. There's not much I can do about it.
I mean, I could see this, that could be in the story Monday, like, may have a chance. Okay. Or, if they win, it might be like, he was able to overcome a lot, like Mahomes did so many times in his career, just not in that game, So, good or bad, there might be some Mahomes recent comparisons,
Aside from quarterback play, and this is football 101, but I think especially with both of these quarterbacks, turnovers.
Sure.
But, man, whichever defensive line can take advantage of their advantage over the opposition offensive line.
Really rule the day.
Is going to go a long way in determining this one.
Yep. Just 'cause I don't want to forget about it. I mentioned the long week off. I mentioned the road situation. But special teams is huge in this game too. Because I think it'll be a pretty close game. I think it'll be pretty low scoring. Mentioned it with Seattle Rams. Seattle's basically the best special teams in the league. The Rams were the worst, and that came to bite them. But Patriots are middle of the road, but they both have great returners. Jones, the corner, is a great punt returner. Shaheed's a great returner. We might be talking about, this was an even game, but one team broke off
We've seen that for Seattle a bunch of times.
A bunch of times. Right. So just special teams will be really important. It favors Seattle, but both are dangerous.
But New England's no slouch in that department.
Yeah.
Matt, when we come back on the other side, I want to play a little Super Bowl Would You Rather.
Okay.
Seattle versus New England, Seattle versus Boston, however we want to label it. Some on-the-field stuff and some off-the-field stuff. Would you rather? We'll get to that when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. All right, Matt Williamson, penultimate segment here of this Friday, this Super Bowl preview.
Of the official season, yeah.
Good call. You're right. When we are back next week, it'll fully be
off-season mode.
Chapter closed, book closed, and off-season mode. Wow, that happens quick. Matt, you and I, hey, listen, full transparency for the audience. We still have a little fun now. But we both had a lot of fun when we were growing up in college age.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever play a game called Would You Rather?
I'm familiar, but probably not.
Okay. It's a popular game. It's really simple. I mean, you just, would you rather, and you kind of have a topic and two options, and you pick one. And, some college kids around the country over the years may or may not have turned it into a little bit of a party game, but I digress.
Understood.
I have Super Bowl 60 Would You Rather for you. Most of these are on-field related,
okay,
but one or two that are,
I like it.
Fluff Super Bowl stuff.
Right.
The first one, Matt Williamson, on Super Bowl Sunday, who would you rather have as your starting quarterback, Sam Darnold or Drake May? I'm not talking going forward. I'm not talking for
right,
this,
I know, for
this
a
one game on Sunday.
Right. May. Everyone knows I've been a big fan since he came out. And that's not a knock on Darnold. Darnold played really, really well against the Rams, and I'm a believer. Darnold's a good player. May's a little special, though. Yeah, this could be – he's a little more mobile, which I think is particularly important in this matchup for both teams. I think the quarterbacks should be under a lot of pressure. He's a great processor. Just a note, he destroyed man coverage and was – good, not great against zone. He had an MVP type of year. I would expect Seattle to go heavy zone.
Okay.
Just something to keep an eye on
to keep eyes on him.
Yeah. Keep eyes on him too. And they move their safeties around a lot. And Mawari's a chess piece and zone as well. So just keep an eye on that. I bet they don't play a lot of man.
I'm with you. Drake May would be my answer, but I think it's a testament to Sam Darnold at this point that we're asking this question.
Right.
Because if you would have asked me before the playoffs started, Sam Darnold or Drake May, I would have been like, what kind of question? What kind of question is that?
I might be voting that guy as the best quarterback in the league this year.
Right. Exactly right.
Now, I assume you agree, even though May is runner-up for MVP and had as good a year as any quarterback in the league, I would still pick like Lamar and Allen and Burrow for one game today. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
So he wouldn't be my pick of all the quarterbacks out there.
No, this is specific for Sunday at, I guess local time it'll be like 3:30 there in California, but 6:30 our time for those 3.5 hours that the Super Bowl is going to be contested. Same line of parameters, Matt Williamson. For your 3.5 hours Super Bowl 60 life, would you rather have Mike Vrabel or Mike McDonald? Which Mike do you want as your head coach for 60 minutes of football on Sunday?
They're both really high on my list.
I got you with this one.
Yeah,
I
thought
you would like this one.
I think McDonald's such a good schemer.
I think he's maybe the most underrated head coach in the NFL.
Yeah.
Everyone, rightfully so, talks about Vrabel and McVay and Andy Reid, but you hardly ever hear Mike McDonald's name mentioned in those conversations.
So we do a Twitter Thursday, and I was asked, would you rather have the coaches in the NFC West or the AFC West?
That's a good question.
Which is a really good question.
That's a good question.
And I'm like, McDonald would be pretty high on my draft pick list of those. There's 6 awesome ones and then 2 replacements, But I think I'm taking Vrabel. And he's he always does these like sneaky things with substitutions and knowing the rules.
Belichickian.
Yeah. Understanding the situation. There might not be anyone better in the league at it. He's been a head coach in more big games. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's more experienced. Mm-hmm. Vrabel.
But that's a close one.
Yeah, they're both would be maybe top 6 or 7 on my list of anyone walking the planet.
Matt Williamson, would you rather the Patriots running back tandem of Henderson and Stevenson or the Seahawks running back tandem of Walker and Charbonnet?
Well, we know Charbonnet's out. So are we counting him or not? We can still count him.
But yes, I would still like to count him for the sake of this would you rather 1-2 running back conversation.
Walker's my first pick in the draft of all of them.
Which I think is fair.
Yeah.
Is Henderson 2? I know it's only a rookie season. That's what makes it difficult. Is like
Stevenson was really good this year, though.
All 4 of these guys were really good this year.
Yeah, they were. Seattle's the choice if Charbonnet is in the mix. Without him, New England's
without
choice.
him, it's New England.
For this particular game.
And you know what? Maybe for the sake of this conversation, it's better if you don't include Charbonnet.
Probably not, because even though Walker would be
that
one,
I'm thinking out loud here.
It's a distant 4th though for the other guys. I can't remember who they are. But Stevenson's a really, really good player, and the problem with Henderson, which nobody saw coming, because everyone considered him like the best blitz pickup, pass protecting back in the draft last year. he hasn't been good in that. It's a different world. You're not pass blocking against Michigan and Indiana anymore. It's a different world. So that's a big reason why Stevenson's gotten so many more touches. But since their bye, they've also incorporated them both on the field together a lot. So keep an eye on that too.
Whose defensive front would you rather have, Matt Williamson, Seattle's or New England's?
Seattle's.
I thought that'd be a pretty easy answer for you.
Because the edge guys are a lot better. And it's deeper.
It's deeper and it's better off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would be the pretty easy answer, but I still thought it was worth floating to you.
If the conversation was just defensive tackles, then it's about a tie. I mean, Barmore and Williams versus Murphy, who's been outstanding in his second year, and Leonard Williams, who's kind of like their Cam Hayward type guy.
Yep, the savvy vet.
Then it's close. But the edge dudes, not the New Englands are bad. They've gotten a lot out of Landry and Chase on. I mean, there's so many guys whose career they've rejuvenated, but it's not like the Seattle guys.
Whose offensive line would you rather have, Seattle's or New England's?
Seattle's. New England doesn't have a great player on their line. Neither one does, actually.
Cross and Zabel are good, though.
Yeah,
I
say
would
the
agree
left
with you that they're
side's
not
really
great,
good.
but they're good.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they're well above average. They may have the weakest link at right guard in Bradford, but I think collectively the Patriots O-line might be the worst position group in this game of any position group.
Okay.
Yeah. I still think it needs a fair amount of work. The right side's pretty good. The right guard, Enuare, is a good player. He's an above-average player. The rest of the dudes are young or not quite there yet, or I bet they add another O-lineman or two in the offseason.
I would certainly think that that's New England's early offseason priority.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so strong. They're so much strong, or they are so loaded, so strong in so many different areas.
Defense is pretty well set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Secondary, they've got some nice young pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly offensive line though would feel like if you're listing a priority for the team that's going to pick 31st or 32nd in the NFL draft.
Yeah, right.
I mean, but offensive line,
and it was a priority this year. I mean, they drafted tackle high. They signed Moses, so they added two new guys. And Wilson was a center at Georgia. They turned him into a left guard, and he's a keeper.
Mm-hmm. All right, Matt, you ready for some off the field ones here?
Mm-hmm.
Salmon or lobster?
Lobster.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I do like salmon.
I like salmon. I love lobster.
Can I say something that might be a little controversial? I think lobster rolls are overrated.
I do too.
They cost $30.
Right.
And there's just something about the consistency of lobster on bread that just doesn't vibe with me. But I do love just cracking lobster fresh at the beach.
Yeah.
It's tough to beat.
Or you're at a nice restaurant and they bring it out presented and you know,
right next to your
pretty
ribeye
darn
or your
good.
filet or something like that. I think so too. I'm a big salmon fan. We do salmon like probably once every other week in our house. But lobster's tough to beat. But with the caveat of I'm not a big lobster roll guy.
So a little history lesson for you. Like back in the day, like when they landed on Plymouth Rock in New England and, you know, the country was new. They would feed the prisoners lobster.
Oh, it was
garbage.
Garbage on the bottom of the ocean.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it was everywhere too. You know,
Lobster's reputation has done a 180.
No, it's gone a long way.
It's come a long way. It's like chicken wings, man.
Yeah, exactly. They threw those away.
Now it's like you can't get 6 wings for cheaper than $10.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was like $6 all you could eat.
Oh, dude, when I was there was a day that they threw them away before, like, they put hot sauce on them.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, what am I going to do with these little things? Right. But when I was in college, they had 10-cent wing night, dude.
Oh.
My whole fraternity would go to Ohio Street Bar and buy 800 pitchers of beer and never leave.
Every Friday, me and our buddy Adam Crowley.
Yeah.
There was a place in Morgantown that had a Friday hat. It was from like 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
$5 got you all you could eat wings. And there were like 75-cent domestic beers. So,
yeah, wow.
So you could go in there with $10 and get a full meal and start your Friday off right. It was the best.
Someone I'm sure will tweet me this, but this was before I was even in the business. So I was probably 25. It's a good 25 to 30 years ago. My buddies had a place in Shadyside and would do Monday Night Football down there because every pitcher of beer you bought, they brought out 10 wings. So it's like, which one goes first?
So,
like that first 10 we'd eat in 4 seconds.
Absolutely.
4 of us sitting around.
Absolutely.
But how many pitchers of beer do you go through? And they just keep bringing out the wings. They keep bringing out the wings.
That's like Wolf would tell stories about when you could get like 50 cents for 50 wings in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Back
I bet in Buffalo.
When he was growing up. And
I'm sure.
Lobster and chicken wings, man, they have gone from...
Should have bought stock in them way back when.
They've gone from the bargain bin to Fifth Avenue real estate there, baby. I always enjoy that. Do you have a favorite wing place in Pittsburgh, real quick, while we're here?
No, but I'm open to suggestions.
Okay.
Our local pizza shop has good ones at the
Archie's is really good.
Okay.
Sidelines is really good. Big Shot Bob's is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Fatheads is really good.
That's another thing, too. Like, I never even got wings growing up. Like, they didn't have them at pizza shops. I mean, like, when I went to college, and I was, like, old, and I was 21, you'd go to bars, like, you could get
wings. For
wings.
me, it was, like, Quaker Steak and Lube and Buffalo Wild Wings.
That was
all-you-can-eat night.
We drove all the way to Slippery Rock one time just to get wings at Quaker Steak and Lube.
That's awesome.
Because there was nothing around here.
I tell you what, wings and lobster, they've come a long way.
They didn't deliver them with pizza.
All right, you ready for this one, Matt? I'd like to have Dale in here for this conversation, too. Would you rather Aerosmith, James Taylor, and the Dropkick Murphys, or Hendrix, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam? I better know your answer on this one, but
none are at the top of my list. Give me the 3 again.
Boston's is Aerosmith, James Taylor, and Dropkick Murphys. I really threw in the angry pirate music for Dale there. I could have put the Pixies.
I'm actually big on the band Boston. It's my first ever show. You actually
but
like
are they
this
from? Are they actually from Boston?
I assume. I never
don't know
thought
if they
twice.
are.
They might not be. That's kind of funny. But my uncle taught me, he was about 10 years older than me, and we
they are from Boston. Yes.
Sat in the first row.
All right, we'll replace them with the Dropkick Murphys.
They're just more my style. Angry Pirate music, though, is fun with Dale and Pursuit and those guys.
It is.
But he took me to the show, and we sat in the first row at the Civic Arena, and the boards are still in front of you, and like I stood on the boards as like an 11-year-old, right?
That's cool.
That was a pretty cool first show.
That is pretty cool.
I think I'll go with the Boston crew.
Yeah. For me, it's not even close. It's Seattle, and I'm not a massive Nirvana or Pearl Jam guy.
You know what? Pearl Jam has a lot of weight.
I appreciate what they meant for the music scene. Mm-hmm. Certainly, their hits, you throw them on, and I'm bopping my head.
Jimmy's huge, though.
But as you know this, I've said this to you before. That I think Hendrix. There's a couple guys when you have that best guitar player ever conversation.
Yeah.
That if you don't at least mention them pretty quickly, I'm throwing your argument out the window real quick. And Hendrix might be number 1 on that list.
Strangely, I saw my uncle that took me to the Boston show just last weekend, and Hendrix came up for some reason. He's a big music guy. He's the one that got me into Zeppelin and all that stuff. And he's like, "Man, what if that guy didn't die so young?" I mean, he was so ahead of his time at 27 when he died.
27.
But what have you been doing at 40?
You throw on a Hendrix record now, and it sounds like it's from the future still.
Right. And like, I even asked him, I'm like, what was it like hearing that for the first time?
Blow your hair back.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be like hearing Ozzy and Sabbath for the first time.
He said it was a little bit like hearing Eddie Van Halen for the first time.
Eddie Van Halen's another great. Just so, what's that?
Yeah. What is that? Yeah.
Hendrix carries a lot of weight in that conversation, although I do love me some James Taylor. 2 more, Matt, real quick to close this thing down. I should have asked you this first, but New England or the Pacific Northwest? I don't know if you've been to either, been to one or the other, been to both.
I have a good buddy that 2 of my buddies, after they graduated college, there was like 5 or 6 of them that just like took a car and went, and they landed in Portland. And one of them never came back. He still lives there. So I visited him once. It was cool. It rained like crazy all the time, but I can understand why people dig it. New England, I haven't been to much. I haven't traveled much. And New England, I would go to Bristol a lot, but I didn't like. I flew into Hartford.
You haven't done like Vermont and Maine.
No, I have a real good buddy that lives in Maine
Massachusetts.
that I'd like to visit. But I think I would like New England better. From what I know of both. I visited Boston College when we were Pitt twice. Yeah. I thought that was a great area.
For me, Matt, tier 1, and I am talking just landscapes, geography, topography, all that stuff. Tier 1 in the United States is California and the Carolinas.
Okay.
In California and the Carolinas, you can go to the beach, you can go hiking, you can go swimming, you can go skiing, all in the same day.
Yeah.
in terms of natural beauty, weather, climate, all that stuff, California and the Carolinas are in tier 1 for me.
Okay.
But then tier 2 would be the Pacific Northwest and New England.
Oh, so it's a tight call for you then.
It's a tight call. I think I'll lean towards Pacific Northwest just because it's a little less populated. New England is crazy populated.
Greener.
It's a little bit greener, but man, fall
you get less snow too.
Fall in New England is unbelievable. Yeah, but I'd get a lot of pond hockey if I lived in the New England area.
Maybe it's just on my mind now because I'm getting pretty sick of the weather locally. But I could do less snow, less 0-degree days. Yeah,
same. Last one, maybe the most cliched of them all, Matt. Starbucks or Dunkin', baby.
Starbucks, but I'm not a coffee expert. I drink a lot of coffee. Well, you see me drink a lot of coffee. I only drink coffee here, basically.
I think you and I are in the same boat that 90+% of the coffee that we drink is either here at the studio or at our house.
Yeah, and 90% of it's here at the studio. Sunday game day, I'll make a coffee at home. Once in a while, I'll have one at home, but there's many days I don't.
About once a month, I jones for a Starbucks latte.
I never go buy coffee anywhere.
That's why I give them the slight edge.
Okay. I would say 100% of the coffee I drink is either
Dunkin'
K-Cups or I'm at a diner at breakfast and keep filling it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I never go somewhere and buy a coffee.
I rarely do either.
Yeah.
Only a handful of times a year. In
Starbucks
fact,
is pretty good stuff.
The week that we're in Indianapolis, I buy coffee as much as I do probably the rest of the year combined.
It's hard to find there sometimes. You go to the media room. And
it's never in the media room. It's always out or it's a 15-minute walk away.
Yeah. It's always out at the media room,
And from where we stay and walk through the convention center and everything, I walk past a Starbucks like 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah.
So I'll just be like, I'll snag a latte.
That's one of my least favorite things about it because I'm on the air and I always drink coffee before and while on the air. It's not as easy to find there as I want it to be.
It's one of the most bass-ackwards things, maybe the only one about the Combine that's not logistically awesome, is that the media workroom is a 10-15-minute walk away from Radio Row.
I know.
And
it's
that's
ridiculous.
that's where all the water and coffee are. So if we want water and coffee, it's about a 15-20-minute round-trip walk. You can't just go and grab one during your 4 or 5-minute commercial break.
When I started going to the Combine through the Steelers, in every corner of Radio Row were huge ice buckets full of Aquafinas or whatever. That was great. And I think there was a coffee station. Now, there is one at the NFL Network if you cheat and go behind the curtain.
We've done that a couple times.
Yeah, if they're not watching and you break
down the barrier. Strike this part of the episode from the record, but yeah, we might have stolen coffee from the NFL Network crew in the past.
Yeah, but they pay extra for that, right?
Statute of limitations.
But now you can't get any of that stuff. Used to be unlimited waters that were like, hey, while you're up, grab me a water.
It's like, hey, we're all sitting here talking for 8-9 hours a day. Nah, we don't need any water or coffee. Definitely not.
Right.
We'll be just fine.
And they do, go to the media room. Yeah, but it's on the other side of the convention center.
On the other side, we'll wrap this thing up. Couple of your tweets and our predictions on how Super Bowl 60 will unfold. We will do that as we put a bow on this week's operations when we return. Uhler, Williamson, Steelers Audio Network. Final segment here of the week, final segment of the NFL season as Super Bowl 60. Well, what, Matt? About 48 hours or so from now.
Right.
We'll be wraps. We'll put a bow on this 2025-2026 season in the
You hanging
National
at home,
Football
or did you end up doing a party or something?
All right, so here's what's going on.
Okay.
This actually all happened this morning. One of our neighbors, lives a few doors down from us. We become friends with him and I get along, wives get along. They've got 3 kids that are the same age as our 2 kids. So we've become friends.
Yeah.
Kids play out in the street in the summertime.
All out front.
Trick-or-treating and that kind of stuff. They have a pizza oven in their backyard.
Nice.
And I don't mean like they bought it at Costco and like I'm talking like
brick.
Built from scratch Italian brick pizza oven.
Nice.
And they texted us this morning and were like, you guys want to come over for the Super Bowl and have some pizzas?
Yes.
So
you put any toppings you want on it. Yeah.
So we said we'll come over till halftime.
Okay.
Because at that point it'll be time to put the girls down for bed anyways.
They're tired. Yeah.
That way I can really focus on the second half and the outcome of the game and everything.
That's a good compromise.
It's a good compromise. They live.
The girls will have a blast too.
They live 4 houses down from us. So we'll walk down there a little bit. My wife and I had already pre-ordered some wings, so we were like, we'll bring the wings over. You guys make some pizzas.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And I actually think in a weird way, the kids will all be off doing their own thing. So
they'll be running around like crazy.
I might actually get to focus on the game maybe even more than I would if I was sitting at home with my kids bugging me.
Yeah, they'll be climbing all over you.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in my lazy boy by myself watching the game.
Do you have any food plans or just
no,
whatever you
but
end
I
up
might need to
making for
work on
dinner?
that. Maybe Saturday I'll have to pick up something fun.
Yeah.
It might as well.
Get yourself some nice deli meats.
Yeah, something along
Some
those
cheeses.
lines. Yeah,
Make yourself a nice little charcuterie board.
that could be the move.
You are a big deli meats guy,
Oh,
aren't
yeah.
you?
And charcuterie might be my favorite food on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, just in terms of like Italian meats and cheeses. We haven't had this conversation,
So good.
but I mean, hot supersada is the king of the.
So good.
It's the king of the fatty meats and never gets credit for it. Why isn't it on pizza? Does it not
some places
bake
it is.
well enough?
You
Well,
need to go.
have.
You need to go to Rome. It's on pizza in Rome.
Yeah.
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 Maybe it is something with the doesn't bake well and
I don't know,
consistency.
maybe it doesn't cook quite right or something. But
If we've got any real
king of the fatty
paisans
meats.
out there, let us know on Twitter.
Yeah.
Why they don't put it on pizza as much, but soprasada is great with some good cheese.
But if I have like fresh mozzarella and a variety of olives and only get one meat, it's hot supersada.
I'm a big appetizer guy. Love them.
Yeah.
But I think if you told me for the rest of my life that the only appetizers I could have charcuterie and oysters, I think I'd be good.
Yeah.
I think I could survive.
Strong.
Oysters are a time of the year thing, but man, when the sun's out and you get them fresh, boy, do they hit.
We don't ever make them, but at a restaurant, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
And needless to say, I don't eat the fruit and stuff in the charcuterie. It's all olives, cheese.
No, you
Olive, cheese, and meat.
You drop those olives into your glass there, James Bond. Shaken,
And I don't
not
like
stirred.
artichokes, believe it or not. Like when I get we go to Cucina Belli right around the corner. Like just take the artichokes off and add whatever else you want in the mix.
I like
More
artichoke.
roasted
I like
red
artichoke
peppers
dip.
or whatever. Yeah, I do too, but I wouldn't pay for them. You know what I mean? I do like the dip.
For more of Wes and Matt's food
really.
takes,
That's how we're going to
subscribe to our Patreon. Only food is what we call it with Williamson and Uhler. You and I are in lockstep at a lot of those things. It is funny. Okay, Matt. Big game Sunday, Santa Clara, San Francisco, NBC, 6:30. Seattle 4.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
The over/under 45.
I guess the line has not moved once.
I think it did. I think it opened Seattle 3.5. And
Oh,
then
really?
Quickly
Okay.
jumped to 4.5 like
Okay.
11 days ago.
So when it opened, I thought, man, this line's off. I thought it should be like 7.5.
I thought it would be close to it. If you would have asked
Yeah.
me to predict before I knew what it was, I
Yes.
would have said 6.5, 7.5.
Yeah,
would have been my guess.
7. I actually did it. We were chatting on. I'm like, I bet this is like a 7.5-point line. But the more I think it through, I have Seattle winning, but only 19-16. I think it's like a close. I have a lot of faith in Vrabel, and I have a lot of faith in those defensive tackles to keep this thing close. This is Josh McDaniels' 10th time there. I mean, like, there's a been there, done it factor to the coaching staff at least. May might be special. Might be in for a real long day and might just get battered. But I think it's going to be a close, very low-scoring game. So, over a field goal, I think I'm in. And I'm shocked I thought that way. Because when it opened and I didn't start breaking it down, I was like, Seattle might win this game by 20.
I have gone back and forth. And as we get closer and closer to the game, I think it's going to be a closer and closer game.
That's what I keep thinking, too.
My first prediction, last Friday, if you would have asked me, I would have said 31-17 Seattle.
Yeah, yeah.
I just think it's time for the bell to toll for the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they're an unworthy AFC champion. That would be seeking comfort. That would be excuse making. That would be a bridge too far.
But they have been super impressive on their run.
But there's a reason why the national people of the world who evaluate this thing will tell you they've had one of the easiest paths to get there in the last 50 years. I think both of those things can be true.
Yes.
It's not a joke that they're there, but they've also had a lot of bounces and a lot of benefits to get there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just believe in the sports justice thing of like, it's time for the bell to toll for New England. They've been so fortunate to this point. They only played 3 different teams, 4 if you count the Bills twice, but 3 different franchises in the regular season that made the playoffs. And one of them was the 8-9 Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. Then in the postseason, they get a destroyed Chargers offensive line. They get a Houston team that turned the ball over as much in that game as they did the entire regular season. And then they get a Broncos team with a quarterback that hadn't started a game all year.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to go 28-17 Seattle. And I know that 11 points is a decent margin. I think there'll be like a late score that puts it away.
You think it's a competitive game?
I think it's mostly a competitive game, but that Seattle from start to finish is clearly the better team, and the score line will reflect that.
Wouldn't shock me at all. I mean, I don't think the Patriots can win big. I think they can win.
If there's a team that wins big, it feels like it has to be Seattle.
I agree with that. They're the best team in the league.
And have been since
at least 2 months, something like that. Yeah. They're a powerhouse, and they're really well constructed, and I have great respect for how they got here.
But all those things that you said about the Patriots ring true, and just, hey, man, it's the Super Bowl. What we saw last year in a easy, decisive victory, that is so often just not the case.
Right.
But it's going to be a lot of fun, Matt.
No, I'm getting psyched up for it.
Me too.
Again, I haven't thought about it all week till like yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, hey, what's going on here? You should have seen me this morning. I looked like a spectator at a tennis match, like back and forth. I'm flipping back and forth between the Olympics and all the Super Bowl coverage.
Okay.
Like, I'm like, curling's on. But I want to watch the NFL Network live in Santa Clara. I'm like flipping back and forth like like I'm watching a tennis ball go back and forth. Good stuff this week, man. Had a lot of fun, and we'll be back on Monday to break it all down. The big game.
Off season will be here,
and then we will fully start diving into draft and free agency, even more so than we already have. Big shout out to Mr. TV, Tyler V, for doing the video producing today. And for Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody, and we will be back with you on Monday to react to it all. Pardon me. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.